All right, so we'll get started in a few minutes. We still have people joining. Good morning. It looks like some of you already used the chat. Perfect. Okay, still more people joining. Thank you so much for your patience. We'll get started in about 1 or 2 minutes. All right, awesome. So thank you so much, everybody, for attending today. We're so glad to have you. Welcome to the Fall 2021 Virtual Check-In. This presentation is brought to you by the International Student and Scholar Services Office, or ISSS, or ISSS. A warm welcome to our beautiful campus in Las Cruces. We hope you have a safe and pleasant trip for those of you who have already arrived. So before we start, I just want to mention a couple of ground rules for today. As much as we would like to hear from you, there are so many people attending today, so the default microphone setting is and will remain on mute. If you have any questions, feel free to send it in the chat anytime during the presentation. At the end of the presentation, we will answer the questions that you have sent in the chat. For some reasons, if we run out of time and we didn't get to your questions, please email isss@nmsu.edu with your name and ACCI ID number or your date of birth, and we will answer your question as soon as we can. If you would like to review the PowerPoint or rewatch the presentation, you'll be able to, because we will send the presentation on FSN to the Foreign Student Network listserv, and we'll also upload the presentation to our website. Okay. So let me type in the chat real quick, so people who just joined can see where to type the questions. All right. So next thing, I would like to introduce you to the ISSS staff. First, we have Matthew Lara. He's the Associate Director. You will hear from him later in this presentation. And then, of course, we have Padma Reddy. She's an International Student Advisor. My name is Supapit Bibi Kanti. I'm also an International Student Advisor like Padma. Next is Kylie Arieta. She's our Program Coordinator. Diane Kobrick is not in the session with us today, but she's our Immigration Specialist. Desiree Martinez is our Student Worker. And Juliana Casillas is also our Student Worker. You may have already interacted with them. So with that said, I would like to welcome our special guest today, our Dr. Denise Esquivel. She is the Associate Dean of the Graduate School. She will answer your questions later in this presentation. But of course, if you have questions for the graduate school, here's the email address that you can send. It's gradinfo@nmsu.edu. Okay, so let's get started with the poll. Question number 1. Number 1 is, are you a graduate or graduate student? Wow, very quick responses. Awesome, you are ready to go. Okay. So I'm still waiting for 5 more people. Let's see. I'll go ahead and end the poll right now. Can you see the results? Awesome. It looks like the majority is actually undergraduate students today. So very nice. And graduate, of course. You are all here. So let's go to the next question. Give me 1 second to launch the poll. There we go. Which of the following applies to you? So select one. The first one is I am in the US. Number 2 is I will be arriving in the US soon. Number 3, I will take online classes from outside of the US for the fall semester. Okay. Awesome. So this is a very good result to see. Let me end the poll and then share the results. So it looks like most of you are already in the US. Awesome. And those of you who will be arriving soon, we look forward to seeing you. It looks like there's nobody who's taking online classes from outside of the US in this Zoom session. So that's good. So I won't get into that part of the presentation then. Thank you so much for answering. All right. So this next part of the presentation is for new students who are in the US or will be arriving in the US soon for the fall semester. And with that, I will hand the presentation over to Kylie.
Yes, hello, good morning. As Phoebe mentioned, I'm Kylie. So this information is very important for students who have either arrived in the US or if you are on your way to arrive in the US. This information pertains to COVID-19 guidelines upon arrival. So based off the CDC guidelines, if you have arrived from campus either by plane or by vehicle, if you are vaccinated, you should get tested 3 to 5 days after travel, and you should self-monitor for any COVID-19 symptoms. If you are unvaccinated or partially vaccinated, you should get tested for 3 to 5 days after travel. And the biggest difference here is that you should stay home and self-quarantine for 7 days. So it's very important to note if you are unvaccinated or if you are partially vaccinated that the CDC recommends that you do have a quarantine period of 7 days. If you have received only one of the 2 required doses of a vaccine, you are not considered fully vaccinated. That's very important to note. If you have received vaccines that are either not Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, then please make sure that you contact the Aggie Health and Wellness Center as soon as you can for further guidance on information pertaining to those vaccines. The Aggie Health and Wellness email is campushealth_health@nmsu.edu. Students are always expected to follow face covering and physical distancing requirements while they are at NMSU. Recently, because COVID is such a fluid situation, the pandemic is very fluid, we've had the mask requirements change at NMSU. So at NMSU, when you walk into a building, if it is not possible to distance more than 6 feet or 6 feet, you are required to wear a face covering. So it's very important to know that in most places, you will likely be required to have a face covering. Specifically for the international office, our office is asking students to have a mask on when you enter our office and keep it on as you're in our office, as well as when you have an advising appointment with any of the advisors. So please note that. Make sure you have your mask with you. As far as checking in with ISS, I've already talked to many of you as new international student orientation has started and we've been progressing through that orientation. So the biggest thing to know is that NISO, New International Student Orientation, there are 2 parts to it. The first part, you would need to finish modules 1 through 32. At that point, you can then reach out to me and I will lift your orientation hold, which will allow you to be registered for classes. There's information in the NISO course also about the math placement test as well as the English language placement test. So if you needed to take those tests, you would need to take those tests prior to being advised and registering for classes. There is information, as I said, in NISO about those tests. You can also reach out to me if you have questions specifically about the English language placement test or the math placement test. I'll go ahead and put my email in the chat in a second. After you have completed, so the first part of NISO, you've completed the the English language placement test and the math placement test if needed, and then you've registered for classes, it's very important during that time and as soon as possible for you to finish module number 33, which is the second part of NESO. Module number 33 is where you submit important documentation and a check-in video. Please note that the deadline for module number 33 is August 13th. So if you do not finish module number 33 by August 13th, your orientation hold will reappear on your student account. And that could prevent you from moving forward with your classes. So make sure that you get module number 3 done as soon as possible and definitely before the August 13th deadline. Okay, I'll go ahead and put my email in the chat.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Kylie. I see some questions coming in, so please be patient and we'll answer them at the very end. I have noted your questions down. And Kylie has sent her email in the chat. So if you'd like to note that down, please feel free. So next, let's move on to our next presenter, Padma.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you had a safe travel to US and welcome to NMSU. I'm so glad that you're all here and across all the many hurdles that you have faced to getting your visas and getting all your flight tickets and getting all the COVID tests. But finally, you're here and we are so glad that you made it, crossing all the hurdles. Welcome, big welcome to you all. International students are guided by SEVIS regulation, which is the Student Exchange and Visitor Program. They make the regulations for international students. We as representatives of the school have to make sure that you have registered for the required number of courses every semester. And we will talk about that in further detail. For full course load, as an international student, you have to register for a full course load. For graduate students, it is 9 credits. For undergraduate students, it is 12 credits. And of that, at least one class has to be in person or hybrid. And because you will be continuing to summer semester happens to be optional semester, which means that you can register full-time if you choose. You can register part-time or no classes. It's your choice. But fall and spring, you have to register for the required number of courses. Let's talk a little bit about border community students. We have a very, very small population and they must be registered for part-time. There are going to be students who are in their final semester. They are required to submit a reduced course load form to ISS office. And upon approval from ISS office, you can register for only the required number of credits that is required at the end of your program. And we are also going to talk a little bit about reduced course load form, which we will talk about it in shortly. On to the next slide, please. I have had many emails come asking about what is a hybrid class. Hybrid is a combination of online instruction and a classroom instruction. So it is considered a classroom-based course. If you're trying to register as an international student, new international, you have to register for at least one classroom-based or hybrid. And hybrid is a classroom-based as per SEVIS regulations. So when you register for those classes, each class differs with their meeting times and days, depending on the program or the course. Please contact the instructor or your academic advisor with questions about the class type, meeting days and times. Before you are eligible to register, you must complete the new International Student Orientation, which is also called NESO. If you have not completed your orientation or have not received the email, please reach out to my colleague, Kylie Arietta. She has also posted her email on the chat, and here is also the email. And we also recommend that you attend the new student orientation, which is hosted by the graduate school. Dr. Denise will talk to you a little bit about that later. Next slide, please. Now, let us talk about what is a reduced course load. Like I said in my previous slide, all international students, if you are a graduate student, you have to register for 9 credits. And undergraduate, you have to register for 12 credits. There are some scholarships that may require you to register for 15 credits. But in certain conditions, you can be registered for a reduced course load. And that's what we are going to talk about in this slide. If you are a new international, then I say new international, which means that if you have never studied in the US before, you have never studied, that's what is considered a new. If you have studied in the US before, but you are a new student at NMSU, you're still not considered a new international to get this. So you can get the following for reduced course load if you were placed in an improper course level placement. Say you were registered for a course by your academic advisor without completing your prerequisite, then this is what it means. If your academic advisor is willing to say, hey, the student did not complete the prerequisite, then, and if you would like to drop this course after August 27th, because that's the last date to register for classes at NMSU with instructor's signature. At that time, if you think that there are no course availability, then please reach out to our ISS office and we will be able to help you with that. Other things are initial difficulty with reading requirement. This is for students who have never been in the US before studying at any other school, and it could be only for the first semester. Okay, and I know we are all international students here, but the reading requirements are quite different and the pace is quite different in the US than when you compare it to your home country. If you're having that, and if we get a signature from your academic advisor on the reduced course load form, we will be able to help you with that. And the third is unfamiliarity with the American teaching methods. Here in the US, the teaching methods are quite rigorous. In international countries, it may not be so rigorous. At every stage, there are so many tests and presentations and all of that. So if you feel overwhelmed, I can understand that. Please do not feel shy to let us know, and we will be able to help you. I know that you have come thousands of miles traveling. That itself is a bold step all alone to come and start your academic career. We want to help you in all of this. For me, it is more important that you let ISS know we are your friends, and we will try to help you with any issue that you have during your academic career. This is what without reaching out to us, we will not know. And please do not drop classes without letting us know or our approval. And the last one is initial difficulty with English language. The accent at your home country, although the English is the same, might be quite different to the accent here in the US. If you find that, please let us know. The second one we are going to talk about is medical condition. I don't want any of my students to go through this, but if you have a medical condition and it is hindering your academic progress for the semester, please reach out to me. And here is my email. And I'll also post my email at the end of my talk, along with the reduced course load form. Regarding the medical condition, because we are not medical people, we are not able to evaluate. We will need a doctor's note, and the note should indicate your name, your full date of birth or ID, and it should not indicate what medical condition you have, because here in the US we have HIPAA violations and we want to protect your privacy. Please do not do that, but the doctor will need to say that because of your medical condition, you're unable to proceed with your academic goal for fall 2021 or whatever semester and they recommend that you take part-time or no classes. We'll be able to help you, and you can continue to maintain F1 status. I know this is a lot to absorb, but these are important things for you to know. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed, and that's the reason why we are going to send it on FSN and post it on our website. So you can always go to our website to look for this. Or also feel free to send us an email. Next. The reduced course load must be completed and sent to ISS. And here is the link. You can also find that link on our webpage. And if you are a graduate student and who has a graduate assistantship, please check with graduate school if you qualify for the reduced course load for your assistantship. Just a reminder again that please do not drop classes and continue to maintain your full course load until ISS approves your reduced course load. Please do not do that without our approval. Thank you. And here we have, I want you to understand how your I-20 looks. This is the first page and half of your I-20. At the top, the red one, if you see, that is the SEVIS ID, and it always starts with the alphabet N, followed by 2 zeros, and then there will be a unique number associated with your I-20. And of course, there will be your name and the country. The first part is your personal information. And when you look at the blue arrow, if you are a new student, and it will give you the initial attendance, which means that it indicates that you are a new student. If you are a transfer, it will say transfer pending at this time. And once you have registered for full course load and completed module 33, and when we register you in the immigration system, the blue mark where it says initial attendance will automatically change to active. Until now, you are just new students. We have to make you active. That's the reason why we have requested all of those information on module 33 to fulfill those requirements. And the second green one talks about a little bit about our school information. What university you are admitted to, what is our address, and who is the school official who has issued your I-20. The purple one talks about your program of study. So at what education level you are admitted to and what education level is your I-20. And it also talks about your major. Some students have dual degrees, so it will reflect major 1 and 2. If you don't have, it will show blank. And in that, you will also see when does the class start. The classes are beginning for fall on August 18th, 2021 for fall. That's what we have indicated. And the program start and end date. This is very important for you to know. Because you have to arrive on 9th of August 2021, and if you and the following, in this case, the I-20 end date is 31st of August 2023. It may be different depending on your educational level. Once your I-20 is close to getting expired, you have to renew your I-20. And it is your sole responsibility to reach out to ISS office if your I-20 is going to expire. In this particular case, the student's I-20 is going to expire on August 2023. They can reach out to our office in the year 2023 and send us an email, hey, I would like to extend my I-20. And we will talk in detail more about the I-20 extension. Next. Here is the second page of your I-20. Currently, who are new international students, this column is blank because you are initial, and we have to register you in the immigration system. Only then we are authorized to sign this. We have to register not only new students, we have to register continuing students too every semester, which is every fall and spring semester. So this is what is going to happen. And after we register you in the immigration system, I will sign, or my office staff is going to sign. The important note is to look at the date when I have signed this I-20. When I sign the I-20, say if I sign the I-20, it will be today's date, which is August 5th, 2021. And you have to renew this travel endorsement every 6 months. This travel endorsement is necessary if you're traveling within the US or outside the US. This travel endorsement will make sure to look, the Border Patrol will look at your I-20 and look at the date. They will, from this, they will make sure that you are registered for full course load and you have met the international requirements. And that's why we have signed it. So the Border Patrol is what they're going to look at, my signature and the date. Next. To receive your I-20 travel signatures on the second page of your I-20, you must be registered full-time. But if you have received an approval from ISS for the reduced course load, you are eligible for the I-20 travel signature too. You must have an I-20 with you at all times with ISS staff signature on the second page of your I-20. The signature confirms to the Border Patrol that you have registered for classes full-time, and we have registered you in the immigration system called SEVIS. This travel signature must be renewed every 6 months. Also note that the travel signatures are required if you're trying to apply for social security number or for driver's license. Unless we SEVIS register you, they will not be able to see you in the system. So please do not go to the driver's license office or the social security office before we register you in the immigration system. If you need travel signatures from ISS office as a new student, please reach out to us anytime after August 25th, and we'll be glad to help you. Next, please. Yes. Now that I talked to you about I-20 and how to look at your I-20, I also wanted to talk to you about your I-20 extension. Here is the link. It is your responsibility to make sure your I-20 is current and valid at all times. There are a couple of things that you need to know as an international student. On an F1 visa, you have to maintain full course load or get an approval for reduced course load from ISS and get an I-20 reflecting that you have a reduced course load for the semester. Second, make sure your I-20 is valid at all times. Third, make sure that your passport is valid at all times. And it is your responsibility to make sure that you meet all the requirements. In this case, if you look at it, this student's I-20 is going to expire on 31st of August 2025. If the student hasn't finished their program of study for whatever reasons, then we can extend their I-20. There is no requirements to submit bank statements or cost associated to it, but you have to submit it before it expires. If it has expired, unfortunately, ISS does not have the ability to extend your I-20. So please mark it on your calendar. So it'll show you that, hey, you need to renew it. I would highly recommend that process. Next, please. Let's talk a little bit about your passport. I have indicated to you that you have to have a valid passport to maintain your F1 status at all times. If you have your F1 visa in your passport and it expires, and you plan to travel outside the US, you will need to renew your visa before trying to re-enter. If your passport is going to expire in 6 months, please contact your embassy consulate in the US to renew your passport. Because of the fluid nature of COVID, not many embassies are closed and consulates. So I will recommend if you have to apply for a renewal of your visa due to COVID, some embassies and consulate may be able to not be able to renew the passport or may take a long time. In that case, request for a proof of passport renewal letter from the embassy and consulate so that you will not have any issues with your border patrol agent. Remember, in Las Cruces, we are so close to the border of Mexico, so we have border patrol agents in every direction excepting when you go to El Paso. So please be aware of that. So if you're trying to travel even to White Sands, there will be border patrol agents and you have to show your I-20 and your valid passport with travel endorsement. Next, please.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Kylie and Padma, for the important information for the first part of this presentation. So this portion, we will be taking questions for Dr. Esquivel. If you have questions related to graduate school, please feel free to send them in the chat. So I haven't received any graduate school related questions so far. Let's start off with if Dr. Esquivel could talk a little bit about the graduate school orientation.
Good morning and welcome. It is an honor to be here with you all. Welcome to New Mexico State University, and we look forward to working with you and guiding you through your journey as international students. Graduate student orientation is being held online, and if you were a new student, you should have already been registered for the new student orientation, and that is being held on Canvas. If you have not been registered or received the link, please email gradinfo@nmsu.edu, and they will make sure that you get added to the orientation portion for grad school. If you're going to be holding a grad assistantship, whether it be teaching, research, or other, there is a new student graduate research or graduate assistant orientation that you must also attend. Once you are hired, your name is added to the course, and you must complete the modules within there to be able to keep your grad assistantship. One of the other items I'd like to talk about is your registration. As international students, you must remain enrolled in 9 credit hours to maintain your F1 visa status, unless there's the exception, or to retain your graduate assistantship. Along with the 9 credit hours, you must maintain the 3.0 GPA to retain your graduate assistantship. If you drop below either one of those, you are jeopardizing your assistantship for employment, and those do not come back very easily. I will wait for further questions and see what else comes up. Thank you, and we welcome you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Esquivel. So we are still waiting for some questions. I'll give it a minute or two. I just wanted to point out one thing, that of course the graduate school is for those who are having master's or doctorate degrees. And today we do not have a dedicated representation from undergraduate admissions because ISS is under the undergraduate admissions umbrella. So we're here to connect you with undergraduate admission side of things as well. Okay. Dr. Esquivel, looks like you were very clear and there have been no questions so far.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Okay. Actually, a question from a current undergraduate student who may be interested in graduate school later on. She's asking, do we have physical therapy school at NMSU?
No, we do not. The closest that we have is athletic training, and that program will not start until fall of 22.
Okay, thank you. I hope that answered your question, Hannah. One thing that I want to point out that's very important, many of our international students, once they have graduated from their bachelor's as an undergraduate student, they move on to pursue a master's or a doctorate later on. So if you do change your education level from undergraduate to graduate, you will need a new I-20. So you will get an I-20 change of education level. You will be asked to submit your financial documents, admission letter, and all that. So you've gone through the process before, but once you've been admitted to graduate school, we'll get a copy of your admission letter and we'll contact you. ISSS will contact you regarding the change of education level I-20. Okay. So a question from a graduate student, but this one looks like it's on the ISSS side. I transferred my I-20 from LSU. I did not leave the US and the visa and my passport is still with LSU name. Do I have to get a new visa immediately or can I wait until my next travel to my home country? A question from Gionai Batista.
Hi, welcome, and thank you for asking that very important question. Gianni, you do not need to travel outside the US. You can continue to stay in the US with your visa, although it reflects your prior school, and you're absolutely fine to use it. So, we will also talk a little bit about visa. You can stay in the US with an expired visa, but your I-20 and your passport have to be valid at all times. Okay.
Thank you, Padma.
Sure.
So there's another question from Sharad for Dr. Esquivel. The question is, do I need to apply for graduate student orientation if I am a continuing student who was taking classes online from fall 2020? I did attend orientation when I joined NMSU on fall 2019.
As long as you have attended one of our new graduate student orientations, you do not have to reattend. Okay.
Perfect. And I just want to make it clear that the graduate school orientation is different from the ISSS, and you would need to complete both at least once. All right. Okay. So looks like we don't have any more questions for Dr. Esquivel. So thank you so much for your time. We know your schedule is super busy. We really appreciate having you here today. And of course, if you have more questions for the graduate school, feel free to email them at gradinfo@nmsu.edu. All right. So let's move on to the next portion. Okay, so the next portion, let's take a quick 5-minute break because that was a lot of information. And when we come back, I have a pop quiz for you. So I hope you paid attention on the first half and we'll see you in 5 minutes. Thumbs up if you can. Can you hear me, Matthew, Padma? Okay, awesome.
Yes.
Sorry. Thank you for sending in the chat. So I wasn't talking by myself for 5 minutes. Awesome, thank you. So I was just saying, true or false, there's only one correct answer. 91% of people have already answered, so let's give them a couple of more seconds. So true or false, the required full course load for graduate students is 9 credits, and for undergraduate students is 12 credits. Okay, somebody may have changed the answer. Interesting. There's only one correct answer, but if you got it wrong, it's okay. Now we'll move forward and pay attention, so we know that you are maintaining, you know how to maintain your F1 status. Okay, so let me end the poll. Here's the results. I'm happy with that. So the majority got the correct answer, which is true. Let me drop a link to our website because it's easy to forget this number. So if you wonder for the future semester, how many credits do I need to register for? Go to that link. It has the COVID-19 guidance for course registration, and it will remind you that if you are graduate students, you need 9 credits, and if you're undergraduate, you need 12. Okay, so thank you so much for answering. I'm happy to see that we got most of the people with the correct answer. True or false? Let me launch the second question. You need to have at least one hybrid or in-person class. True or false? Okay. Wow, this one is, there's only one correct answer as usual. Okay. Still got a couple of more people who are trying to remember the first part of the presentation. Remember, in-person class is your traditional class, right? When you go in person, you sit in the class and you have the lecture in person or a lab, right? And hybrid is when there's a combination of online and in person. So you may have classes online for Monday, Wednesday, Fridays in Zoom like this, for example. And then you may need to go to 1 day per week for an in-person component. Okay. So let me end the poll and share results. So the majority got the correct answer, which is true, right? Remember, please, this is very important. You need to have at least one. You can register for 5. We don't mind. That's your choice, but at the very minimum, you need at least 1. Okay? Awesome. I'm very happy to see that. Looks like you absorb information very quickly. We only talked about it once. You got it. Moving on. So I'll hand the presentation back to Padma.
Thank you, Bibi. Thank you all for answering these questions. And please do remember that as a new international student, you have to register for at least one classroom-based course and or one hybrid class. Please remember that. This fall 2021 and also spring 2022. And like Bibi said, here is the regulation on the chat. Please feel free to get the numbers and the type of credits you need to register just to refresh your memory. Okay, let's talk about your tuition and fee charges. At NMSU, tuition and fee charges are posted to your student account. Every student will have their My NMSU account, and that is from where they can register for classes, drop classes, and they can see the payments, everything. So the tuition charges are posted by University Accounts Receivable Office, which is also called UAR office. They are also located in Educational Services Building. So it's easy for you to find. The Educational Service Building hosts UAR office, Financial Aid Office, Undergraduate Office, Admissions Office, Graduate Admissions Office, ISS Office, and Student Records Office. So it is one stop for you all. And so let's talk a little bit about your tuition. And there are also various modes of tuition. For some, it may be in-state, for some out of state, and there are also payment deadlines. You can check their links for the payment options, how to pay your fees or any other fees posted on your student account. For tuition and fee charges for fall 2021, please check this link. For any tuition and fee related charges posted to your student account, please contact UAR office and they'll be able to help you. If there are any questions and if they were wrongly posted or you see a higher one or things like that, then please check with UAR office. Next, please. And in continuation with the tuition and fee, I also wanted to talk to you a little bit about international students who are from Mexican citizens who have the discovery tuition rate, and graduate students who were promised the in-state tuition rate, and also international competitive scholarship recipients and students who graduated from a high school in New Mexico in the last academic year. If you have met any of these criteria, please note at the beginning when you register, you will see an out-of-state tuition rate, which is about 3 times higher than the in-state rate. So please do not panic. If you have, it will adjust within 2 to 3 weeks from the first day of classes. If you still feel there is an issue with discovery tuition rate, please contact Financial Aid Office. With graduate assistantship, please contact the graduate school. With international competitive scholarship, you can either contact me or the Financial Aid Office. For students who have graduated from their high school, please contact Financial Aid Office and UAR office. They will be able to adjust you. It's changing the coding on your application, probably. That's why it happened. But if you are an undergraduate student who has graduated from New Mexico in the last academic year, you can contact either undergraduate admission office or UAR office, and they'll be able to help you between the two of them. Thank you. Next. Health insurance. This is the big one. I know from the countries that you come, having health insurance could be a new concept, but in the US, it is very, very important that you have health insurance as an international student at all times. And here, even a millionaire could go bankrupt if they don't have insurance. It is very, very expensive in the US, but you also get very good medical, medical help with the doctors. They're much more very good than could be better than your home country. But the cost is exorbitant here at the US. So the health insurance is the current insurance you will have, which will be valid from August 1st through January 31st, 2022. The cost of your insurance for fall 2021 is $804, which will be charged to your student account. All the charges will be posted. Anything related to NMSU will be posted to your student account. The charges will be posted to your student account by Aggie Health and Wellness by the first week of September. If you don't pay your insurance charges for fall in full by March 15, 2022, then you will not be able to register for future semesters. If you have any questions about insurance, please reach out to our insurance agent, Angela King, and here is her email. Next, please. NMSU does offer insurance, and it is posted by Aggie Health and Wellness to your student account. And health insurance card, if you need your insurance card, you can go to Aggie Health and Wellness and request for your insurance card. Regarding obtaining a copy of your insurance card, if you have a GeoBlue insurance, you can log into your portal. And here is the link. You can register directly through GeoBlue to download a replacement, and they will send it to you. Or you can also log in or register. To register, you will need your first name and last name and date of birth, and the certificate number that is sent in the email from GeoBlue. If you need help, please contact Relation, that's the insurance company's name, and the number is 800-537-1777 to retrieve your ID card. There is an easy-to-use app too from GeoBlue. Please download it for easy access. In addition to GeoBlue, our Relation Insurance, you can also reach out to Aggie Health and Wellness, which is an MSU organization which will, where students can go to the Aggie Health and Wellness for picking up a replacement insurance card. If you do not have a GeoBlue insurance, then you will need to contact your Aggie Health and Wellness to see what is the process to retrieve a copy of your insurance card. Okay? Anything health insurance related, your first stop could be Aggie Health and Wellness Center.
Okay. Quick question. I think it's important to address this now, Padma.
Yes.
How does health insurance work for student athletes?
Matt, you want to take that question?
Student athletes are enrolled in health insurance through the athletic department. I believe if you are on a full athletic scholarship, they pay the entire cost of the coverage. As an international student, you do have to have the coverage. And I believe you are also covered by an athletics insurance coverage that covers you while you are engaged in your sport, while you are playing your sport and on athletic trips for the university. So if you are on full scholarship, you do receive the international student insurance. And from what I understand, the athletic department covers that charge.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that there's a clear distinction before we get to, confuse the two. So if you're a student athlete, Stephanie Elmore. If you have questions on your athletic health insurance, please contact Stephanie directly. Okay. All right. Sorry for interrupting. Padma, go ahead.
Next, please. Okay. If you have insurance and if you have your own insurance and you want insurance waiver, then here is the process. If you have coverage from a government-sponsored plan, some students we have are sponsored by their embassy, like Kuwait Culture Office, Saudi Arabian Cultural Mission. They not only pay for the students' tuition, but they also pay for the full coverage of the students' insurance. If you are sponsored by any of those governmental organizations, then the insurance is waived, but you have to submit to us the proof. Or if you have a dependent of an MSU employee, or US-based employer-sponsored plan, then it is waived. But the waiver process is done by the insurance company. So please reach out to Angela King, and she will be able to help you with the waiver process or any questions you may have. If you believe that it meets the guidelines, please email proof of your insurance card and medical plan summary to Angela King, and she'll be able to help you. For fall, please remember the deadlines to apply for the insurance waiver is August 31st. For spring, the deadline to apply for insurance waiver is January 31st. Failure to obtain the insurance waiver by the deadline will result in the student being charged for NMSU insurance, and the student is liable to pay for the insurance. Okay, let's move on to the next slide, please.
All right, thank you, Padma. So the next portion, I will hand it over to Matthew. Sorry, Matthew, you're still muted. It happens, and it will happen many times during the semester.
Oh, yes. Over the last year and however many months, the mute button has been my nemesis. So thanks, Bibi and Padma, for everything you've done in this information session. Welcome, everybody. Again, thank you for being here. Appreciate you taking some time out of your day to be with us, to listen to all this important information. Again, if you have any questions, use the chat and we'll get to them at the end of the presentation. And then if we don't get to those, again, if you email us at iSSS@nmsu.edu, we will be glad to answer your questions via email. So let's talk about employment. Employment for international students is important, and it is also important that you understand the eligibility and limitations when it comes to employment. So as an F1 student, you are eligible to work on campus, but only for up to 20 hours per week when school is in session. As an F1 student, you're eligible to work on campus only for more than 20 hours per week when school is not in session. So summer break, winter break, spring break, whenever school is not in session, you can work more than 20 hours per week. While school is in session, you can only work 20 hours per week. Okay. At any given point, you are not eligible to work off campus without prior approval from ISSS. Working off campus may be considered a serious violation of your immigration status. And for additional questions, please reach out to us on that. So we got to be very clear, okay? You are eligible to work on campus up to 20 hours when school is in session. And I think it's more than 20, but no more than 40 when school is out of session. And then at any given point, you cannot work off campus. Okay. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so in order to get an on-campus job, you need to have a social security number, and we can help you with that. Social security number is assigned to people who are authorized to work in the US. If you get an on-campus job, you must apply for a social security number at the local social security office, and you need to bring some documents. You need to bring a completed application for the social security number. You need to bring your form I-20, your passport, visa, and the ISSS letter of support. We will talk about how you get that letter of support here in a minute. But as you can see, we have this really big graphic there to get your attention regarding social security numbers. There are all kinds of scams out there that target people that may have a social security number. Ooh, okay, there we go.
Sorry.
It's okay. So we just want to make it clear and tell you to never provide your social security number via phone or email to anyone. Even if they call you and say, hey, this is Matthew from the ISSS office at NMSU. I need your social security number. What is it? No, do not do that. We will never call you or email you or text you or for your social security number. We will not do that. Same goes for law enforcement and immigration authorities like Border Patrol, banks, lottery officials, anything like that. They will not be calling you and asking you to provide a social security number over the phone. So please don't ever give it out. All right, next slide. All right, so this slide covers both social security and driver's license because you need a letter of support for both, okay? So if you have an on-campus employment, so such as a graduate assistantship, you're a tutor, anything like that, you will need an ISSS letter of support for the social security number. So what you need to do is please email us your on-campus employment offer letter by August 16th. Okay, email that to ISSS@nmsu.edu by August 16th. And then you will be able to pick up your letter from the ISSS office on August 19th. Okay, that's very important because the local Social Security office will not accept a printed copy of the letter. It's got to be the original letter with our wet signature. And the same goes for the driver's license. If you need a driver's license, you will need a letter of support from us. So you just need to contact us to arrange the pickup of your letter of support after August 19th. Okay, so for driver's license, it's after August 19th. For any on-campus employment, email us your documents, your offer letter by August 16th, and you will be able to pick up your letter of support on August 19th. Remember, as always, whenever you're contacting us, right now, we're barely getting back, transitioning into office, right? We've been working virtually from home for the last year and a half. And now we're just starting to return to the office. We've been moved around. We've been in a different area. So the best way to contact us is going to be through email, okay? And whenever you're contacting us, always remember to include your name and your Aggie ID and your date of birth. Or if you don't have an Aggie ID, just your name and your date of birth. That helps us ensure that we are looking at the right proper record of the student so that there are no mix-ups. All right, next slide, please.
Okay, thank you, Matthew. So there's no students who are outside of the US and will remain outside of the US. So I'm not gonna go into this part of the presentation. Looks like everybody is coming to the US or already is in the US. So let's move on to the last portion of the presentation, which is questions. I have received a lot of wonderful questions. Thank you so much for asking these questions. So not only you probably are not the only person with the same questions, so other students will benefit from hearing these questions and answers as well. I have organized them into different themes, so not particularly in the order that first come in. So let's first talk about the check-in. The first question for the check-in is, what happens if I arrive after August 13th and will not be able to take the check-in video on time?
Sorry, it took me a while to unmute myself. If you are unable to make it by August 13, please reach out to ISS office and we will help you walk through the process. We will recommend that you be in the US by August 13 for the following reason. Is that once you come here, you have to settle down. You are coming here from an international country and it could be miles or thousands of miles apart. And you have to get used to a new, strange country and to get an apartment and to settle and register for classes and complete. I do not want you to do it in a hurry and start off in a rush and face through the rigorous academic curriculum at NMSU. So I do not want to set you up for failure. Yes, you are welcome to arrive by August 18, but please do remember that it will only cause you personal anguish, and which I do not want you to. Okay, if you're coming by August 18, please let us know, and I will be able to help you.
So when is the latest that a student can arrive?
It is a very difficult question for ISS to answer. Honestly speaking, I can answer a lot about immigration questions. Classes at NMSU begin on August 18th. If you plan to arrive, if you're an undergraduate student, if you are planning to arrive, you should arrive by August 19th. But if you're a graduate student, graduate students, especially the PhDs and the masters, they can work with their one-on-one academic advisor. If that's the reason why, if you're planning to arrive later than August 18th, then please contact your academic advisor at your department, and they should be able to write you if they are able to help you with catching up with your lost classes or your test, help make up with your tests and assignments, then it's wonderful. And you will need a letter from the academic advisor allowing you to come later in the semester. This is required so that Border Patrol agents, when they look at your I-20, they see that your classes have begun on August 18, and here you are trying to arrive after August 18. So they will question you. So we do not want to jeopardize your travel to US. Hence, we recommend that you carry that letter. As a safeguard, please email ISS a copy of it too. So if the Border Patrol agent calls us, we will tell them that we are aware that the student is going to arrive. Please be careful and travel safe.
Thank you, Padma.
Thank you.
So the following questions is orientation and placement test. So the first one is, when will the registration holds be lifted? Because some courses have limited seats.
Ali, you want to take that question?
Sorry, Kylie, still muted. Thank you. She's working on it. Okay, because I think she logged off and then she has to come in. So let me make her co-host. I apologize.
No worries. Sorry. There was technical difficulties on my end, but so the question is, when will the registration holds be lifted? So earlier in the presentation, I spoke about if you have completed the first part of NISO, if you've completed modules 1 through 32, then you should email me. And at that point, I'll send you an email confirming that I've lifted your registration holds. It's very important to note that after I send you that email, where I say that I've lifted your registration holds, then you can register as soon as possible. You can get in touch with your advisor and register for classes. So, but the important part to remember, of course, too, is you will need to complete NISO, the first part, modules 1 through 32, before that orientation hold is lifted.
Sounds good, thank you. So the next two questions are about the placement test, either the English placement test or the math placement test. Number one, do transfer students have to take the placement test?
So the English language placement test is not necessarily determined if you are a transfer student or for a TOEFL score. I've had a lot of questions of students asking me about their TOEFL scores. The English language placement test is determined depending on your country and your academic record in that country. And as far as transfer students go, if a transfer student has completed the equivalent of, I believe it's English 111, then they would not be required to take the English language placement test. What happens is the processing department will look at your records and determine what you've completed academically. And then from there, they will assign the English language placement test to you. So if you're a transfer student and they see that you have not completed the equivalent of English 111, then you would need to take the test. If they see that you are a transfer student, you did complete that course, then you would not have to take the test. So for any transfer students out there who are still wondering if they are required to take it, you can reach out to me and then I can connect you with the right department to confirm that you need to take the test.
Okay, thank you. Lots of questions coming in. So I'm looking at 2-3 different screens. So thank you for your patience. Let's see. Another question on the placement test. Regarding the math placement test, the student was told that he or she needs to do it in order to register and that it will appear as a new course on Canvas. When will it appear?
Yes, that's correct. So the math placement test is given by the Center for Academic Advising and Student Success. Some of you that I've spoken to, I've talked about Kelsey Smith, who is a director in the cause department. So if you have to take the math placement test, Kelsey Smith will reach out to you and she'll send you an email saying you do need to take the test. The test is going to be in another Canvas course. So it looks like NISO as a Canvas course. And you would find that where you find all of your Canvas courses. So you would log into my.nmsu.edu. And then on the left-hand side, there's a menu and it says, I believe like learn.nmsu. And if you click that, then it will show you the Canvas courses that you are currently in. So if you've been placed in the math placement test, you should see that course there as an option. If you still cannot see it, I would recommend reaching out to Kelsey Smith in cause. If you need her information, go ahead and reach out to me and I'll send you her information.
Sounds good. So we're still staying within the orientation and registration theme. For orientation, this student has completed NISO but still haven't received an email. What should they do?
Yeah, so in NISO, as you're completing the steps, there is a module that asks you to reach out to me once you feel that you have completed modules 1 through 32. And so some students have been reaching out to me directly. That is the NISO instructions. But if you have not reached out yet to me directly, go ahead and just send me a quick email. Every day I do try to look through who has completed, but obviously it's a very busy time in our office. And so if I've missed you thus far, just go ahead and send me an email. And then for anybody else, I'll be checking periodically to see who's completed NISO progress.
Thank you, Kylie. So can students register for classes if they haven't submitted the check-in video and completely finished modules 1 to 33?
It's a good question. So if we kind of go back, we remember if you complete the first half of NISO, modules 1 through 32, I'll send you an email and I'll say, hey, I've lifted your orientation holds and you can register for classes. After you receive that email, you can register for classes as soon as possible. The important thing to remember about module 33 is that it needs to be finished by August 13th. So you can register for classes before you have finished module 33. Just make sure that you finish that module on August 13th. And yeah, you're free to register for classes as soon as you receive an email confirmation from me that I've lifted your holds.
Awesome. So how do students get an advisor to help them with what classes they need to take?
Another great question. So if you are an undergraduate student, you will need to be advised for the Center for Academic Advising and Student Success, or CAUSE. And so you will need to get connected with Kelsey Smith, and she will then let you know how to set up an advising appointment. And so you may be advised by her, or there are other advisors in the cause department. That's if you're an undergraduate student. If you're a graduate student, you may, and I say may, you may be required to meet with your advising faculty in your department. So if you're a graduate student, you should find out who that is in your department. If you're in the mathematics department, who is the faculty advising in that department? Some departments for graduate students don't require them to meet with faculty advising. They let students independently choose their classes. So it's very important if you're a graduate student to at least reach out to your department and understand if you will need to meet with faculty advising or if you can go ahead and register for classes on your own.
Thank you. Last question about registration. How do we know if we have successfully registered for classes?
So I think you'll know in two ways, possibly. If you meet with your advisor, obviously, and you go through the registration process and they confirm that you have a schedule and you see those classes. But if you register for classes on your own, you should be able to go into my.nmsu.edu. And then on the left-hand side, there's a tab that says students. If you click that tab, then it will take you to your course registration, and you can click that, and then it will show you for each semester your course registration and what you're registered for classes. So that will confirm that you have registered for those classes and you're enrolled.
Perfect. Thank you, Kylie. The next 3 questions are about the I-20. So let me go to the sample I-20 so we can all see. The first question is a very good one. Why the school name is written twice on the I-20?
Thank you so much for asking. Yes, it is written twice for the sole reason, because we not only have an MSU main campus, we also have community colleges associated to an MSU. We have Donna Ana Community College. We have 4 branches. If a student is admitted to DACC, in the second column, it'll say an MSU DACC campus. So that's why it's reflecting twice. It's not a typo.
Yes, wonderful question. Thank you. The next question is, when we print out the I-20, should it be in color?
Yes, it has to be in color. Unfortunately, this is only a half of the page of the I-20. You have to print it in color. As school representatives, we are called designated school officials. We have to sign in blue ink only. And if you print it in black and white, our signatures will obviously look black, and it is not, you are not in compliance. So please print it in color and double-sided. And at the bottom of the I-20, you will also have to sign as a student and date it too. Thank you.
Sounds good. So what if a student printed their I-20 on 2 pages instead of front and back?
It is highly recommended that you print it double-sided, and that is how usually the hard copies are printed, and that is how SEVP has recommended it. You may have some issues with the Border Patrol agent depending on their mood, so I want you to be cautious. Also, as PSOs, we are allowed to sign digitally, but as students, it has to be a wet signature, and it has to be in a blue ink only. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is, when can we contact ISSS to get the I-20 signed?
You can get it anytime after August 25th. To do that, please send us an email. Hey, ISS officials, we need a travel endorsement, and you can just say that. And please always do not forget to give us your full name and Aggie ID number. And as an NMSU students now, please use your NMSU email and not your personal email.
Thank you, Padma.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next couple of questions are about tuition. So let me go to the slide so we can pull up or see the links together. Okay. The first question is, when is the last day to pay the tuition?
That question is best answered by UAR office. Like I indicated, any questions related to your tuition charges, payment deadlines, please contact their website. And let me also check. I'll give you the link. I'll post it on chat where we can give you the deadline. Can we move on to the next question, and I'll answer that in a bit.
Of course. Similar question. Can we pay the, sorry, this one was for insurance, but can we pay the insurance monthly? This is payment related.
Yes, you can pay insurance monthly. As long as you have paid your insurance charges in full. Once the insurance charges are paid in full, the system will auto remove your hold, and you will be able to register for future semesters. That's how it is going to be. If you and how you want to pay, you can pay $1 every day. That's fine. Or you want to pay the entire amount in one single shot is also fine. Or you want to pay every month is also fine.
Sounds good. Okay. The next question, let me go back to this slide. The question said, I am a Mexican student and I'm trying to understand the payment options.
Okay.
When I get to register, I will see the whole rate of the payment as an out-of-state student instead of the school rate program. But I can enroll and wait a couple of weeks until the rate is adjusted and then start paying.
Like I said, at the beginning of the semester, and because the tuition rate will not adjust right now, it will only adjust after 2 to 3 weeks. So you will find the exorbitant out-of-state tuition rate, especially for Discovery or students who have graduate assistantship or international competitive scholarship. All of these categories will have out-of-state tuition rate, and then the system will auto-adjust itself. I do not know when it will auto-adjust it, but it will take about 2 to 3 weeks from the first day of classes. If you still find that the tuition rate hasn't adjusted for the school break specifically, please contact financial aid office as this is a scholarship for Mexican citizens. Please contact financial aid office and they'll be able to help you.
Perfect. So the next portion is health insurance, and there's a lot of questions about health insurance. So let me go to the slides. The first one is, how can I have a registration hold due to insurance payment when I'm a new international student?
Sorry?
So how can I have a registration hold because of health insurance when I'm a new international student?
That's a good question. All international students by default will have orientation and insurance hold once they are admitted. And this is set up by the system. Once students complete, as Kylie indicated in her talk twice, that if you are a new student and you have completed your NESO modules from 1 through 32, and you reach out to Kylie Arieta, then she will be able to remove the hold and you will be able to register for classes. The insurance hold and the orientation hold, both the holds will be lifted. So you can register for classes. If you still have the hold, then please reach out to our office and we will be able to help you. And once again, when you send us an email, please do not forget to write your name and your ID number and use your NMST email.
I would just add on to that, that all new international students, they will have an insurance hold, as Padma mentioned, from their first semester, and they're required to pay for insurance for the first semester and then every consecutive semester after that where they attend NMSU. So from the very start of your first semester, you will need to pay for insurance.
Thank you, Kylie.
Yes, that's a great point. And I believe this question may have come from a deferred student. So if you have deferred your admission from 2020, the hold was placed back in 2020. So that's why you have the hold for the new semester, even though you have already deferred your admission. So please feel free to contact ISSS about the insurance holds, and we'll help you with that. Okay. On the same topic, health insurance, this question said, I have a registration hold for health insurance, but when I contacted the Aki Health and Wellness Center, they told me they could not bill me now. What should I do?
Currently, we do not have a list of students who have entered the US, and we will give the list of students, international students, to Aggie Health and Wellness Center, and then they will post the charges onto your student account, and they will be able to bill you. If I may ask, did you take your Aggie ID card as a new student, which will show that you are an international student? Matthew, anything you want to add?
No, just that know that I am running an inquiry every day to pick up the newly registered students, and from that I give that list to Aggie Health and Wellness, and they upload the enrollment and assess the charges.
If I may add to that, ISSS can help push the hold a little bit so you can have time to register for classes. But of course, the hold will become active again shortly after. So like I've mentioned before, feel free to contact us. Okay. All right. So is health insurance also paid through UAR?
It is paid through my NMSU account, your student account. You can go to UAR office and pay any charges posted on your student account at UAR office. They have a counter open where you can pay by cash, check, or credit card, debit card.
Sounds good. Next question. Is it possible for us to get our insurance card anytime when we walk into Aggie Health and Wellness Center? Or do we still need to make an appointment beforehand?
Because of the fluid nature of COVID, currently, I don't think there are any walk-ins. Please contact them, and I will post it in a minute, their contact information for Aggie Health and Wellness, and call them ahead or send them an email and they will give you an appointment. It is recommended that you take an early appointment to go to Aggie Health and Wellness, so you're well taken care of.
On the same topic with the Aggie Health and Wellness Center, this student said, I was not able to get a TB test because I was recently vaccinated, and the Aggie Health and Wellness Center suggested that I wait 28 days before I could get a TB test. I did upload a mail with this info on module 33. Is that okay?
That is perfect. Thank you so much for uploading the document. And thank you so much for getting vaccinated. If the Aggie Health and Wellness has recommended that you wait for 28 days, we can gladly be able to help you with that. But after the 28 days, please get a TB test and submit it on module 33. Thank you so much.
So 2 more questions about health insurance. They're
Yes.
kind of similar. So, but it's important that we go over each one. The first one said, if I already have a health insurance that covers me in the United States, do I still need to pay?
Insurance charges are posted by Aggie Health and Wellness Center. And if you think that you have the coverage and it meets the NMSU guidelines, then please email Angela King, and she will be able to help you with review your insurance policy, as we are not into insurance. And she will look at your medical plan summary and your proof of insurance. And upon review, she may approve the insurance requirement. If she approves it, then you do not need to have an NMSU insurance. But please remember, the deadline to apply for the fall is waiver is August 31st. And for spring, the waiver deadline is January 31st. And if you fail to apply for the waiver before the deadlines, which is August 31st for fall, it will result in the student being charged for NMSU insurance. And student is liable to pay for insurance. Okay.
Okay. The next question, I think the answer will be the same, but I wanted to make sure that we are on the same page.
Yes.
The question is, if I have a health insurance from the US with a deductible of $750 instead of the $500 that NMSU is requiring, do I have to pay for a new one?
Like I said, we are not in the business of insurance, so I do not know what are the standards of NMSU insurance, honestly speaking. And if it is equivalent to NMSU insurance, Angela King will review, or her team will review, and will approve based on that. And if there is an insurance waiver process, in the process, if she says, hey, your coverage does not meet NMSU insurance for so-and-so grant, if you can get an additional insurance that will cover that, then the insurance charges can be waived. And that is all that I know about insurance. So I highly recommend that you reach out to Angela King. And I can post this on the chat if you want, with regards to Angela King's email. And so that if you have any questions about insurance, please do contact her. Anything.
Okay.
Phoebe, there's one more thing I wanted to mention related to insurance and health in general. But before we were talking about Aggie Health and Wellness, and if you were vaccinated or not vaccinated, one thing I think that I forgot to mention was that you can get a vaccine at the Aggie Health and Wellness Center for COVID-19. You will need to make an appointment, as Padma mentioned, because of the situation with the pandemic, but you can make an appointment to get that COVID vaccine. It should be free to you because it is being given out free in the United States. And you can also, I believe, get a COVID-19 test. So you can make an appointment for both of those items. And we highly encourage you, if you need a vaccine, to go to Aggie Health and Wellness, first make an appointment, but then go there because it's easy to do. And we want you all to be safe.
Yes, very important information. Thank you, Kylie. So last question on health insurance. Where do I get information about health insurance for dependents, in parentheses F2?
Please reach out to my office and I'll be able to help you. And also it is posted on our website, I believe. And I'll give you the link.
Thank you, Padma. Moving on to driver's license and SSN. Who do we go to if we need social security number or driver's license? And let me go to that slide.
Thank you, Bibi. Yes. Thank you for that question. So for Social Security, the letter of support for Social Security number, please email, if you've already got an on-campus employment offer, please email your offer letter to us by August 16th, and you will be able to pick up the letter of support on August 19th. If you don't have an on-campus employment offer, and if you're planning on looking for an on-campus employment opportunity after you arrive, and you know, after these dates of the 16th and 19th, then just email us your offer letter. If you get a job on campus, email that offer letter to us at isss@nmsu.edu, and then we will work with you on when you can come pick up that letter. So for driver's license, for the letter of support, contact ISSS and arrange to pick up your ISSS letter of support after August 19th.
Sounds good. And once you have contacted ISSS, we will give you more information about what to do next, like the address of the Social Security office where you need to go, or if you need a driver's license, we'll tell you where to go and the address and how to get there. Okay. All right. The next question is about Aggie ID card. How do I get an MSU student card?
You can get an NMSU student card by going to the NMSU bookstore on campus. And I believe they're located on the second floor. That's where they issue those cards. But also that department does have a website, and you can do the online submission form if that's more convenient. So you can either make an appointment to do that in person, or you can submit your photo online and get that online process started. And then they'll mail you your student card. And BB put the website in the chat. So it's idcard.nmsu.edu. And there's also the physical address. Thank you.
Okay. So just to stay on the topic, is the Aggie ID card the only card we need on campus?
I would say the Aggie ID card is the only card issued from NMSU with your Aggie ID number on it, and then also your photo. So it is the official student card of NMSU.
Sounds good. Thank you, Kylie. So let's move on to employment. There are, oh no. Sorry, am I still here? I just blacked out. Okay. Employment. Do we need a social security number for working on campus, or it's only when you work off campus? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sorry. Repeat that one more time.
Do we need social security number for working on campus, or is it only for when you work off campus?
Okay, can we go back to that slide, please?
Is this the one, Matthew?
Maybe there is one about employment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go. Yes. So, yes, you do need a social security number if you are going to work on campus. Okay. Let's be very clear about this next point. As an F1 student, you are not eligible to work off campus. So you can't go out into the community and get a job at a restaurant or at a department store or grocery store. That is not allowed under the F1 status. And so again, here, this third bullet point, at any given point, you are not eligible to work off campus without prior approval from ISSS. Now that prior approval involves a lot of steps and documentation, and it's a process that we have to go through with SEVIS, and actually they give the approval, not us. It's the federal government that will give that approval for a student to be able to work off campus. It's very difficult, and you must show that you are in extreme financial distress and hardship, which is kind of the opposite of what you should be if you've got the F1 visa. So again, yes, you do need a social security number to work on campus, and you are not eligible to work off campus.
So another similar question, but I want to make this very clear. How can we apply to work off campus?
Again, it's a long process that involves showing proof that you are in financial distress, which you shouldn't be, because in order to receive your F1 visa, you have to provide financial statements showing that you have money in an account that is equal to 1 academic year here at New Mexico State University. So it wouldn't make sense to come and claim that you're in financial distress when you've just shown these financial documents showing that you have adequate funding for 1 academic year in a bank account. Okay, so I think we should really just make it clear that working off campus is not an option that you should be undertaking when you're initially here. Okay, this is something that is reserved for students that have been here a while, perhaps, and something has happened. But students that are just arriving, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. But if you want to further talk about this, my email address will be provided at the end of this session, and you can email me, and I'm happy to speak to you about it outside of this information session.
Thank you, Matthew. So now on to the on-campus. Where can we see the on-campus job offers?
I just posted it on chat where you can see, and I'm going to send it again.
Sure, I have included the link as well. It's called Handshake.
Yes.
And there was a question recently that said, I tried to log into Handshake app to work on campus, but it tells me I'm not registered by NMSU. Do I need to give documentation or any kind of approval from the campus?
No, actually, they have not registered for any classes. That could be the reason. You have to register for classes and be a full-time student, and the classes don't begin until August 18th. So that could be the reason, but you can reach out to the Office of Experiential Learning, and they'll be able to help you guide if you're still having issues.
Thank you.
I believe there is also a virtual job fair on August 23rd or 24th, 25th, one of these 3 days. So check with them.
So what comes first? Do we first apply for Social Security or the campus job?
Students first need to have an on-campus job. Only then they are eligible to get an SSN letter, support letter from our office. So the job offer letter comes first, and then comes the SSN.
Okay, next question. What if I get employment on campus after August 16th?
If you get employment after August 16th or anywhere in the middle of the semester or next semester, please reach out to our office and we will be glad to write you a support letter.
Okay, So I have one more questions unless somebody is sending more in. So the question was, what do I put in NISO as the assignment for the virtual check-in? So if you are on module 33 and there's a page, I think it's the last one that asks you to register for a Zoom session, this one that you're in, what do you need to put? So you are asked to put the date, that's it. So if you had registered for today, go in. If you haven't done so, go in and put in the date that you have registered for. So for you, since you're here today, you would put August 5th, right? And that's all we asked for the last page of NISO. Okay.
Phoebe, there's one more thing I want to emphasize to all of our students. This is for all of our students, but definitely for students who are planning to arrive late, especially after school starts. Please register for classes as soon as possible. So finish the first part of NISO, modules 1 through 32, and then as soon as you're able to register for those classes. For students who will arrive late, especially students who will arrive after when school starts, you guys will need to do two different things. If you are an undergraduate student, you need to meet with the Center for Academic Advising as soon as possible, and you need to identify the classes that you're going to take, and then you will need to get in touch with those professors to ask them if it's allowable for you to be enrolled in those classes and to come late after school has started, and you will need to get their approval. If you're a graduate student, because you'll be taking classes within your department, you will need to speak with your department and make sure that you have their approval to come late on the academic side. So that's why it's so important to start that conversation early and to register as soon as possible. Remember too that there's really no scenario where you need to be on campus to register. If you're an undergraduate student, if you're a graduate student, you can do that virtually. You can meet with your advisor in the CAS department virtually, or you can meet with your advising faculty in your graduate department. But that is so important. Before you arrive to NMSU, please make sure that you are registered for classes.
Thank you, Kylie. And I dropped in the link in the chat, the link to important dates. So please keep those dates in mind, like the first day of classes or the last day you can register, and then the last day you can register with instructor's approval. Okay. All right, with that said, I'll hand it over to Padma and then Matthew for closing remarks. Padma, go ahead.
Matthew, you want to go ahead first, please?
Sure. So once again, I just want to welcome everybody and thank you for taking some time out of your day to be with us in this information session. I know there was a lot of information. You all asked some really good questions. I hope we were able to answer them for you and get you the information you need. And as Padma said, you know, we are here for you. We are your on-campus advocates. We want to see you succeed as students at New Mexico State University. So please be in contact with us. The best way to reach out to us right now and even in the future is going to be through email. As I said earlier, our offices we're just getting back onto campus, getting back into the office. We've moved. We're still getting set up in our new office locations. Some of our staff are still working from home. They will continue to work remotely from home, and they may not be on campus. So the best way to reach us is going to be through email. Again, when you're emailing and contacting us, please include your full name, your Aggie ID, and your date of birth. That helps us really make sure that we're looking at the right information for you, okay? So again, welcome and thank you for spending this time with us. And do not hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you so much for staying with us and spending your valuable time. I know you must be jet lagged. So that's why we chose in the morning. So we thought maybe you will be much better off during the day. We didn't want to wake you up too early too. There must be a rhythm you must have followed. So anyways, thank you so much for joining us in this orientation. And we really look forward to talking to you and meeting you in person. Sorry, we are not able to do that this time, but we hope that the pandemic is vanished from the history of the books, and we'll be able to meet you all in person and shake hands. But thank you so much. But if you have any questions, please reach out to ISS. Especially about off-campus, because that's considered a serious violation. And there are some options like curricular practical training and OPT. We can talk about that. And I'll be glad to help you with that questions. But please do not start working off campus, because as an F1 student, you're not eligible to work off campus, and that will be considered a serious violation. And if we ever come to know, then we'll have to terminate your I-20, and we do not want to do that, and we do not want to go to that route. But welcome to NMSU, and feel free to reach out to us. And like Matthew said, reach out to us via email, and always include your name and Aggie ID number. We usually have the same names with some of the students. And we don't want to get confused between two students and give you the wrong answer. So please always give your full name and your Aggie ID number so that we can answer your questions, specific questions that you have in a very accurate way. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining. Have a wonderful day and have a good lunch.
Thank you so much, everybody. Good luck on your new semester, and we're here for you with any questions you may have. All right. Have a good day. Thank you.
Bye-bye.